Story of Jesus and the 12 disciples. When Jesus went to Jerusalem for the last time, he went with the 12. They were his special friends. Today we call them the apostles. On Thursday of the last week, they met in an upstairs room for the very last time together. It was when Jesus told them that he would not always be with them and us when we share his holy bread and wine. But something happened just before he shared the holy bread and wine. Jesus said, "Someone at this table will betray me." All the apostles were shocked and sorry and angry. They cried out, "Is it I?" That is what you see happening in this painting. Later, Judas did betray Jesus. He showed the high priest's soldiers who Jesus was on the night in the Garden of Gethsemane. These are the symbols of the apostles. Each one has a special sign to help us remember them and their stories. Jesus, of course, is in the middle. This is John. John is the brother of James, and maybe the only disciple identified in John's, maybe the disciple who's identified in John's gospel only as the disciple whom Jesus loved. Jesus from the cross asked John to take care of his mother. And he may be the only disciple who was not martyred or killed because he was an apostle. He may have lived to be very old. The serpent and the cup symbolizes Jesus' words to John and James about drinking the cup of suffering that he must drink. This is a symbol for John. On the shield are the cup and the snake. They help us to remember how at one time people tried to put poison in his cup, but a snake came and drank it. The snake died to save John's life. This is Peter. He's leaning towards Jesus behind Judas. Peter often got angry. He looks angry now, but he became more peaceful as the years went by. Peter heard about Jesus from his brother Andrew, who was with John the Baptist. He is sitting next to his brother, but it is hard to tell because of the way he is leaning towards John. The two brothers look a lot alike. Peter's sign is the crossed keys. The cross keys and an upside-down cross. One time, Jesus said that Peter was the rock on which he would found his church. He said that he gave Peter the keys to the kingdom. When Peter was old, he went to be with Christian people in Rome. It was against the law to be a Christian person in those days, and the soldiers caught him. When they were going to nail him to the cross like Jesus, Peter asked them to turn him upside down. He did not deserve to die like Jesus did. So the soldiers did as he asked, and old Peter died on the cross, but upside down. Judas is the one who went against Jesus. See, he's holding a bag with 30 pieces of silver in it. And that is what he was paid to show the soldiers who Jesus was and when they were to arrest him at the Garden of Gethsemane. Sometimes the sign for Judas is a shield that is all black. Sometimes it has 30 pieces of silver and a rope on it. I wonder if that is completely true. I wonder if Jesus forgave him. This is the sign for Matthias. He replaced Judas as one of the 12. On the other side of Jesus are Thomas, James, and Philip. This is Thomas. He's leaning behind James, so it's hard to see his face next to Jesus. Even though James is really sitting next to Jesus, Thomas is the one who will always ask the hard questions. He is sometimes called Doubting Thomas. His symbol is a spear and a builder's square. This is what a builder uses to build buildings. Thomas went to India to tell the people the story of Jesus, so he began to build the church in that part of the world. He was killed in India for telling the story. Next one is James. He's really sitting next to Jesus. His brother John is on one side, he's on the other. He and his brother were fishermen like Peter and Andrew. They worked for their father Zebedee. James learned about Jesus from his brother John, who learned about him when he was a disciple of John the Baptist. The two brothers, John and James, together with Peter, made up an inner circle of 3 very close friends of Jesus inside the group of 12. The 3 were there when Jesus was praying on the mountain and when he was praying in the garden. But I'm afraid they went to sleep 3 times in the garden. The sign of James is 3 shells. He was the first apostle to be killed. King Herod Agrippa I had him executed. That is why a sword is also sometimes his symbol. Philip is next. He was there when Jesus fed the 5,000 people. They were hungry for the truth about life, and Jesus told them. The truth is that the people need each other and need to love each other. Jesus shared a little bread and fish with all the people to show this way so they could understand and yet keep thinking about. Jesus was like that. His symbol is 2 loaves of bread. On it to remember the day when so many were fed. Now we go to the other side, clear to the end of the table. Here are a group of 3 people, another group of 3 people. They are Andrew, James the Less, and Bartholomew. These 3 people. Here's Andrew. We already know that he is Peter's brother. See how he's sitting next to Peter? Andrew was one of John the Baptist's disciples. When John the Baptist showed Jesus to him, he went to get his brother Peter, and they both followed Jesus. Both Andrew and Peter were fishermen. Many centuries ago, people of Scotland liked Andrew so much that they made him a patron saint of Scotland. If you should ever go there, you should see his sign, the cross that looks like an X. He died on a cross that was an X shaped. James the Less is next. People called him the Less because he was the younger and shorter than John's brother James. James the Less sign is a saw. Finally, at the end of this table, we come to Bartholomew. His name means son of Ptolemy. He was told about Jesus by Philip after Jesus told Philip about to follow him. This is Bartholomew's sign. He was killed by knives for telling the story of Jesus to people who did not understand. At the other end of the table is the last group of three. They are Matthew, Jude, and Simon the Zealot. Here's Matthew. He was a tax collector from Capernaum until Jesus called him. Matthew followed Jesus and later wrote down the story of Jesus, the Gospel of Matthew. It's the first book in the New Testament. Here's Matthew's symbol. It's money bags, because he was a tax collector before Jesus called him and found peace. This is Jude. His name sounds like Judas, the next to the last book in the New Testament, may be a letter by Jude. His symbol is a ship sailing, as he went across the sea to tell the story of Jesus. And here is Simon. He was a fighter for his people and for God's law. He was called the Zealot. He was also a fisherman. The symbol for Simon is a fish and a hook. The fish helps us to remember that he was a fisherman who became someone who fished for people to show them the truth about life. The book is about a book of truth, that truth. It stands for the Bible and especially the story of Jesus written down. These are the 12 apostles and these are their symbols. Now I wonder which one of the 12 you like best. I wonder which one was the most important. I wonder which one is the most like you and where are you in the story? I wonder if we can leave out any of the 12 and still have all of the story we need. This ends the story of Jesus and the 12.